Hey guys, I am Ibigandscary. I'm bringing you another StarCraft 2 replay, this time featuring ChanMan in the bottom left corner playing the red Zerg, and in the bottom right we have Probotics, which is our blue Protoss. Both players are in Masters. This is Condemned Ridge, I believe. Just a freaking huge map, I'll tell you that much. It's got a natural small ramp, much larger ramp. It's very difficult to wall this off. Actually, it takes significantly more structures, and by significantly I mean like one more than normal, but the concave is pretty unforgiving. But you match that with the third right here. It's such a small distance to the third. It's so very easy to take. Definitely the size of the map favors macro play. It's really a great map. You can see that Probotics is sending out his first probe, and ChanMan has successfully sent out the Overlord in the correct position. So both players know, they're scouting correctly. They know where the other person has spawned. No unlucky guess there. ChanMan sending his drone off in the wrong direction, but we expect that to adjust whenever he realizes that the Overlord is sending off in the right way. Pool going down at 12 for ChanMan, just playing a little bit careful. Overlord's going to spot the expansion, see that Probotics is taking the Forge Fast Expand down on the lower ground. The size of the ramp shouldn't be any reason not to do that Forge Fast Expand. It's so awesome whenever you can get up a 2-base Protoss. Can do quite a lot against ChanMan, and really the only answer you have for that, because it's almost impossible to break that wall without some sort of Baneley all in. You're going to have to do quite a lot of expansions. ChanMan has his drone in position for the expansion, but Probotics has enough money. It looks like he's going to try to do a pylon block. Oh, he gets there just in time to throw down the pylon. Takes a little bit of damage on the probe, but he definitely denies and delays that expansion. ChanMan looks like he's going up to his third to throw down the expansion there. No big deal for him. The pool's done. He's got 4 Zerglings on the way. They'll be used to take down the pylon so that he can secure his natural, which is now his third base. Totally natural. This is 100% normal for him. Very small delaying tactic, but it's nothing more than an annoyance. And at the end of the day, Probotics loses a pylon, loses 100 minerals, and ChanMan loses a little bit of mining time. But at that point, it's so minuscule. Probotics has the photon cannon in a bit of an exposed area here, but the amount of pressure that ChanMan is going to be able to put on in the early game, with his natural being the third and probably going to grab the natural sooner rather than later, the pressure is going to be very delayed. So Probotics is going to be able to get up that wall off, and he's going to be able to get his expansion up and mining. So both players are comfortably moving towards that no aggression early macro stage. It's going to be great. I'm looking forward to it. You should look forward to it too. First queen coming out. The hatchery's just about to finish as we see a second queen. That's going to be used for the natural, it looks like. I don't think you'd want to bear with me as the queen walks all the way up to the third, so I expect another one going to be built there shortly. Cybernetics core already on the way for Probotics. No gas out of either player yet. Oh, no. There we go. ChanMan grabbing his first gas to get that speed up. The size of the map, really, you need that Zergling speed very, very quickly. And at the same time, it looks like Probotics is grabbing 2 gas. 3 gas. 4 gas. Oh my god. Whoa. How much gas does he need? This is so much gas. This is it's going to be a very strong tech play. Probably not super early upgrades. I'm trying to think the size of the map. He could definitely be trying for an airplay, maybe a Void Ray harassment or something like that. He knows the Overlords are in the area though, so he has to be very mindful of where he positions his structures. Probably this pylon is going to be it, or he could throw another one even over in this corner, which is probably the safest place, in my opinion. Another Overlord coming down though, so hopefully if we do see some shenanigans, maybe it could be a warp prism. We could see a warp prism. Oh, that'd be great. Another pylon coming down. So there's all different sorts of places that Probotics could hide his tech. But with so much gas, we could definitely expect some sort of tech coming out of him. I mean, look at his gas income. 300. It's almost twice as much, 3 times as much as what ChanMan has right now. And he's only got 1 geyser on. pretty soon. We'll see much more saturation on his geysers, see what type of tech ChanMan's going with that 3-base play. You can really afford to do pretty much anything. Again, airplay is always fun with this size of a map, but the 3-base roaches seems to be quite in vogue. A little flirting between the Zealot and the Zergling. The Zergling's too shy, he runs away, so that's okay. Speed is just now getting started by ChanMan, very delayed there, but that's just because the gas was kind of stunted, and it looks like he's getting the lair going on at the same time. That Zergling does make it, or the Zealot does make it into the probe line. It's going to target down some probes or drones. One drone does go down, another one too, so that guy's definitely paid for himself. Look at how resilient he is. Three drones for one Zealot. I'll take I'll split the difference. That's fine, no problem there. Probotics still doesn't have that warp gate tech up. He's saving his chrono boosts. It looks like he's got 62 and 50. And here we go. 2 Stargates and 3 more gateways. Gateways probably just going to be used for defense as he gets those Stargates up. Overlords, if they do come in, the suicide will probably be in this direction. He might spot the very bottom one. Where is the one here? It probably was just taken out. Was he? Yeah, 1 kill for that stalker. So he suicided in, and then immediately after he took out that suicide overlord, he threw down the 2 Stargates, which is fantastic. That is awesome, because you can expect that suicidal overlord. Another photon cannon just to buy a little bit more time for those Stargates to get out. And with all the chrono boosts saved up, we can expect these Void Rays to be on the field very, very quickly. What really needs to happen is another suicide overlord. When that overlord suicided in, none of this structure was built, none of this structure was built. So ChanMan knows that Probotics was waiting for him. He knows that nothing was built, or he missed it, so he can either choose to... It does look like he's warping into an Overseer, and he's going to move right over it. So he's going to come in the second these Void Rays pop out, which will give ChanMan just a little bit of time. He has an Evo chamber up already, so those Spore Crawlers should go up as soon as he sees the Void Rays. It goes down almost instantly, but the 2 more Void Rays on the way. These guys can do some massive damage if they were already in the base, but we can see another Evo chamber, Hydralisk Stint, and Spire are all on the way. And we can see that a lot of Spore Crawlers are going to be built. Oh my goodness, there's so many Spore Crawlers. Not really positioned around the mineral line, so the Void Rays could kind of kite around, and all they'd have to deal with were the Queens. But there's also none down in the natural at all. This natural is very undefended, as is the third. There's another plethora of Spore Crawlers down here, but they're not positioned to protect the mineral line, which is odd. Maybe, I mean, these can reposition too, so as the aggression unfolds, I'm sure they'll be repositioned, and we can see Hydralisks are already on the way, so the Void Rays will have a hard time even with the mobile army. 4 Void Rays, and then now Phoenixes. When the Spire pops out, I think Corruptors will be your best bet. With the Mutalisks are going to be great at keeping that army contained, but they won't be able to answer the push that's probably going to come out, because these Void Rays have been spotted. The amount of damage they're going to do straight up and down in a battle is going to be limited because of all the Spore Crawlers, because of all the Hydralisks. They need to be supported by a ground army, and if they are supported by a ground army, then Roaches and Corruptors will be a excellent choice. Fully saturating 3 bases. ChanMan decides to grab a 4th, which is a great play. Oh my goodness, Fleet Beacon also coming up for Probotics as he grabs his 3rd, secured by that airplay. That Fleet Beacon's going to be great. It might be just because Probotics wants to fully upgrade his Phoenixes, which are going to be used to support those Void Rays, but more likely we'll see some carriers. That would be awesome. These Phoenixes and Void Rays, this is an intimidating fight right here, but with so many Hydralisks, they're going to be able to do quite a lot of damage. These guys have to be very careful. Doesn't look like he wants to use the Phoenixes to lift them off, because it's just too many Hydras, but they have to be very careful. They're so slow and so weak against ground-based play, and these Zealots are going to be able to chew them up very, very quickly. Some force fields preventing the retreat, and the retreat really isn't possible anyway. Those Hydralisks were too far off creep, far too slow, and not supported by Zerglings or Roaches. They go down completely. Oh, more of them are keyed into the what is that, rally point? Thank you. A rally point, a little bit wrong. Some more go down, but we have 9 more on the way I think ChanMan really needs to just focus on defense. He can't hope to deny the third at this point, but he can hope to kind of whittle down this army and harass it more with some mutas or get some corruptors up, because corruptors are really going to be your ultimate answer to this. See, 1 weapons is up for the air. Level 2 weapons is coming out as the fleet beacon finishes. The carriers are now on their way. Still no upgrades out of the fleet beacon yet, but especially the graviton catapult is really going to be key whenever you start dealing with the carriers in large numbers. Zerglings are pretty good at soaking up damage, but not whenever the Phoenixes can fly right over them and lift them up. The Hydralisks definitely paying for themselves, doing quite a lot of damage, but this attack doesn't succeed in taking out too many of the units. Just 2 of the 4 Void Rays remain, and the Phoenixes are pretty weak also. So it looks like Probotics not going to be able to move out and do a bunch of damage with this force, but he has succeeded in taking that third, not fully saturated just yet. But it will be shortly. 2 carriers. Oh my. So many carriers. So many Zerglings. Zerglings, probably a good choice if you could get in there and do some damage to the probe line. But they're not the best choice at defending the Hydralisks. I use roaches more than anything else. Oh man. Those Zerglings could have done massive damage if they got in, but a clutch warp in of 2 Zealots right on the front door, preventing them from getting in, just taking 3 or 4 seconds to hold those Zerglings at the front door, allowing the photon cannons and the Void Rays to chew through them. Carriers pop out. Will there be more carriers started immediately? Graviton Catapult is almost done. 2 more carriers underway. 15 mutas coming out of ChanMan. ChanMan has himself saturated completely. Grabbing 2 more gas is really going to be the limiting factor here as time progresses, as are larvae, I guess. 3 hatcheries coming out, just macro hatches, getting plenty more of those mutas on the field. Muta's not the best choice against currently anything that Probotics has in his army, but they're a fantastic choice against these probes, which are completely undefended by a photon cannon. No static defenses here. A lot of these probes are going to go down unless they get pulled immediately, and they don't. But the mobility afforded by the air from Probotics' army is really going to be able to cut down those mutas. 90 over 50 for the harvester count. We can see the mineral income is severely stunted by that harassment, but the resources lost from ChanMan is so high right now because those mutas are just getting chewed through by those carriers. Catching a over-eager Phoenix. I think that was the last Phoenix on the field, right? Yes, it was. One of those Void Rays also went down. So now all he has to deal with is 4 carriers, and the best choice against carriers for Zerg is a Corruptor. Another Stargate coming out just to really power out those carriers, but these mutas are being reinforced time and time again, and I don't 100% agree with that. You can't let these carriers get to the number of 6 or maybe even 8. At that point, they're absolutely done. Oh, these mutas flying directly into the ball. Not a lot of stalkers there to do a bunch of damage, and they're beginning to be reinforced by those corruptors. Picking off the pylon, which powers both Stargates. An excellent choice there, but unfortunately it only stops a single Phoenix from being built, as 2 more Phoenixes are out on the field, and 5 Phoenixes total out on the field. 2 more en route, and you have the Phoenix range, and I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce that crystal. See, now I have to attempt it. Is it Aeon Crystal? Anion? Anion Crystal. Cool. 4 carriers. Once these dual pylons finish up, I expect to see more. You really need 6, maybe 8, 12, 200 supply is what you need. The mutas kind of flirting, trying to see if they can take out another one of those pylons. Flies directly into the combat field. All these mutas are going to be absolutely wasted. Not doing the DPS. The Corruptor's doing more DPS, taking out one of the carriers, but if these Phoenixes want to, they can chase down those Corruptors and kill all of them before they get back to the line. 1 goes down, 1's already weakened. Another 5 are prepared to intercept, but the other 2 go down before they do enough damage to chase them off. Very successful play by the Phoenixes there, but 10 more Corruptors on the field. Probotics is getting to the point where he's nearing max. He can afford to push out and kind of poke at the front door. He's got a well-sized ground army, well-sized air army. It looks like ChanMan is relying 100% on the Zerglings, even though he's getting level 2 missile attacks for the Zerg ground. Level 1 air is also on the way. All those corruptors are going to be able to chew through this army if he can directly engage the phoenixes, and it looks like he can. A good surround by the Zerglings, catching it in the open air. And the corruptors come in, focusing down those carriers. 2 go down already, 1 more. A single one remains. So many corruptors just chewing through those carriers. Looks like all the carriers are going to fall, but I don't think it's enough corruptors remain to take out the phoenixes. But with just phoenixes and stalkers left on the field, I don't think enough of this force remains for Probotics to continue the aggression. He's going to have to pull back, especially as the another force of Zerglings comes in and clears out the stalkers. Reinforcing stalkers are going to have to retreat. Both players floating quite a lot of minerals, but they're just having to constantly choose between different techs to engage the other player in a correct form. Oh, so many phoenixes off in the main, running directly into that spore crawler wall, and some of the queens there, but having to flirt off and choose another more advantageous battleground like this place. Just a single queen, no spores. ChanMan doesn't have the corruptors on the field to successfully defend them, and those phoenixes are so fast that they really take minimal damage from the spore crawlers. Finding one of the exposed hatcheries, queen goes down almost instantly, and now there's so many phoenixes they're just going to be able to lift off so many of these drones and do quite a lot of damage. 80 harvesters. I know we had 90 a short time ago. Now the corruptors are on the field, kind of making the phoenixes think twice about the engagement. I think there's too many phoenixes for this number of corruptors, though, but they have succeeded in taking down a couple of them. No more being produced, though. Actually, nothing being produced except for level 1 ground. The upgrades are kind of all over the place for ChanMan, frankly. How much armor does he have? 2 armor. He's got 1 ground. I really want to see a corruptor again so I can see what type of air upgrades there are. 3 for air upgrades for Probotics right now. No shields, no armor, no nothing. Here comes some Zerglings with their 2-1, going to poke at the front door, but with the forces there, not going to be able to do too much, and with all the Zerglings down on the front door, those Zerglings are going to have to retreat. I said Zerglings, I meant Zealots. There's another corruptor. Yeah, just 1 for air, no armor. 11 more mutas on the way. They're okay against the phoenixes, but against the direct engagement between the carriers, they're not going to be as effective as the corruptors. And corruptors are only 50 more minerals. If you can force those phoenixes to sit still for just a second, then the corruptors are better. I think it's very difficult to choose the correct unit composition because there's so many phoenixes on the field, but you have to be mindful that the number of carriers are being constantly produced. Those mutas finally sandwich the phoenixes in between, take down 1, 2, and 3 phoenixes. Now the number of phoenixes is severely limited, only 5 left, but they've succeeded in taking out all the mutas. Another one goes down, just 4. I think they're going to have to retreat now. There's not enough phoenixes left to do a solid push here. Still no greater spire on the scene, but Broodlord's really not going to be very useful against this unit composition. Neither are ultras. What ChanMan really needs is just to destroy this base. If you could just manage to take out the 3rd, he would win it, because it's the only mining base, but currently 180 over 150 supply. He's mining from so many different bases. His income is sky high comparatively, but he hasn't succeeded in teching to the correct tech choice to deal with this. Corruptor is definitely good enough to deal with the air, but where he's losing is the ground. Roaches, a good choice, definitely cost effective, really good against gateway units, but I don't know. Maybe roaches supported by hydras and then corruptors in the air to deal with the carriers. Hydras could deal with the phoenixes. Fungals would be nice against the phoenixes. Huge number of corruptors, but they're having to fly right over the stalkers. Corruptors are going to be able to take down all the carriers, but the number of corruptors is falling so very quickly. I don't even think it's going to be able to take down all of them. That last one survives by 38 supply, 38 health. 3 more carriers on the way. This expansion is definitely going to fall. It depends on which direction Probotics chooses to push. If he goes north, he can take out the 2 mining bases. Everything else is pretty much mined out, which would be a death blow for Probotics. If he goes south, he could take out all the infrastructure, which would also be a death blow for ChanMan. Pardon me. Another big push on the ground, but the air superiority that Probotics currently has is just absolutely demolishing what the force that ChanMan has. I don't think he's used to this sort of airplay, and frankly, I've never seen this sort of combination airplay. The carriers are doing fantastic at supporting the heavy zealot force. There's so many minerals that Probotics has left over that he's just blowing all that mineral on the zealots, and they're doing such a good job of creating just this meat shield, which would prevent those hydras from getting close. 10 more corruptors on the way, but they're going to spawn at different places in the map, and they're going to get picked off, especially with 3 more carriers joining the force. These 2 spawning, getting destroyed almost instantly. 3 spores in the area are going to get cut down by the zealots without taking minimal damage. This is really looking pretty bad for ChanMan. With so many carriers on the field and not enough corruptors. What is the corruptor count currently? 8, 12, 13, something like that. 11. I know math. Probotics basically has an unstoppable force at this time. Only 1 mining base for ChanMan because he's lost the other one, and it's scouted just now. He's expanding to all ends of the map and is managing to pick off a couple of carriers as they reinforce. Another one forcing to retreat. But the number of corruptors, they're not reinforced by anything. The standing force is just standing down by the 3rd right now. So these corruptors are going to once again get caught off guard. Those stalkers are going to engage with minimal risk to themselves, and so many of these corruptors are going to go down. They need to find the correct angle to take out those carriers, but unfortunately those stalkers are just always underneath and are always taking them out. Another carrier gets caught off as it reinforces, but that's just a small victory. Final push from ChanMan. All these roaches are going to get picked apart by this plethora of stalkers and zealots. I think that's going to be a good game. It was a great game, though. This map is huge, but I don't think I've ever seen somebody do this sort of air and ground combination. Usually when you see air, it's pure void rays and it's cheese. Or you see carriers way, way, way late in the game, but it's never straight off 2 stargates and forever air. ChanMan, I feel like he did a good job. The mutas were a great choice in the harassment, but the corruptors needed to happen. Throwing away those mutas during that one fight was kind of foolhardy. He should have known that those mutas weren't going to be very cost effective, and they'd be better served at kind of poking at the 3rd. Probotics never expanded off of that 3rd. If ChanMan had just committed to the harassment, if he had committed to keeping Probotics' forces down and just haggarding him, playing the more economic style, maybe this could have ended differently. But as things are now, ChanMan got a critical number of carriers out and really did a good job of supporting them with zealots and stalkers and phoenixes. The phoenix play was great. That basically ends at 33 to 116 supply. ChanMan is out of the game. Probotics having fun because he likes carriers. But that's it for me. Hey, if you guys have a game you want me to cast, you could PM me here or Reddit. And if you have a comment, something you want to say, you can let me know here or Reddit. One way or another, I will see you guys later. I am Ibigandscary.